I'm joined by University of Central Oklahoma offensive lineman Hector Becerra. Hector, thank you for taking time this evening to come on and talk to me. Could you start by telling the viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Hector Becerra. As you said, I am from Lawton, Oklahoma. I graduated in 2019, and I've been at UCO ever since then.
I noticed you played both ways in high school. You played offensive line, you played defensive tackle. Now, I asked your teammate Lane Grantham this. Now, do you prefer blocking for touchdowns or stopping touchdowns?
All right, honestly, sometimes I can be selfish. Playing defense, that is probably one of the best feelings ever. Getting a tackle for loss or just getting a tackle in general. But offensively, I love when we work together as a team and as a unit and put points on the board. So I'm gonna have to go with offense.
Okay, okay. And you also never lost to rival Lawton Eisenhower when you were there. Now how first of all how big is that rivalry in Lawton, and what does it mean to you to know that you went undefeated against those guys?
Man, that felt great. That was one of our biggest games, like rivalry games in our seasons, my 4 years there. And it was a big thing to us, and we always made it a big thing. It wasn't just one of those things where we knew we were going to go in and win. We always went in and game plan on what they were going to do, because it's always, you don't know what they're going to do as well. But in the past 4 years, going undefeated against them, it was probably one of the best feelings. And even celebrating with the team afterwards was the best too. Moments I will never forget.
And when I was watching your tape, I mean, on both sides of the ball, I mean, I saw you were just like a very violent, physical guy. You was throwing dudes around on defense. On defense, I was like, man.
Hey! It's the only game, or one of the only few games, that you can actually hit somebody and you can't get in trouble for it.
So where does that where does that physicality come from?
Man, honestly, I just know if I just get my job done, then I just know what I did was great. If the dude's not on his back, then you ain't get the job done. I feel like all the anger and stuff that you have built up, uh, just it just comes out at that moment when you're down on the line and going against somebody.
And what would you say was probably your most memorable thing about your high school career?
Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna lie. My high school career was probably the best. I think the best one was when we just made it to state. I know unfortunately we lost the state. There are a few teammates on that play at UCO with me who played in the state game and we lost to them. But I think one of my best games was when we played against Putnam City West, and I believe it was my sophomore year. And Miles Davis. I remember I was on the sideline. I'm not. I think it was Miles Davis. And anyways, they threw the quarterback threw it up, and we got picked in off the game, and it basically allowed us to go to get us a spot in the playoffs. So that was one of the best moments I remember. But there's a lot more, but that's one of the top. That's one of the ones that was at the top of my head. And I just remember right after that, I was with my O-line coach, Coach Adam Castro. He coaches at Elgin Public Schools right now. Good dude. I just remember right after that, shit. Oh, I apologize. After that, he just came up to me. Yeah, he just came up to me and just started crying because it was like a moment of happiness, and man, that was one of the best moments ever. I got too excited.
Good. We're all about the raw emotion here. So you good. Now, okay, so you mentioned now that you have teammates that beat you in state. Now, does that ever come up in conversation? Is there ever that trash talk, or has it kind of subsided down?
Man, every now and then we'll play around with each other, but it's nothing too serious. Nothing serious at all. It's always a brother thing, and every now and then, like I said, we just mess with each other, and it's just something little like that. Nothing too crazy. But we'll always remind each other that we've had tension in the past when we played against each other.
Now, when you were going through the recruiting process, now were the majority of schools that were showing interest were they looking at you more as an offensive lineman, or were you also getting looks on the defensive side of the ball?
Majority of my schools were offensive line. I'm not sure if you see my huddle or my highlights from high school. I'm not really cocky. I'm humble, but I do believe I have one of like the best high school highlights ever. But yeah, it was more O line. There was like one school that wanted me for D line, or that was looking at me for D line. That was ECU. They were really interested in that. But O line, I just stuck to that because I felt like that was more what I that's the more experience I was at. More experienced.
And so okay, and so then when you finally picked and decided to sign with UCO, what was it about UCO that made you decide that that's where you wanted to play your college ball?
The college, the staff, the location. Or when I was doing my recruitment, I didn't really look at the location. I just knew it was in Edmond, and I knew it was only like an hour away from home or hour and a half away from home, so I didn't want to be too far. So that was a good spot. But really, Coach Pickett, when he was still here, he was the DC and also the recruiting coordinator. Sorry, he was always keeping in touch with me. Like it was every other day. He was either calling me or he was down a lot and at the field house chopping it up with me in there.
And what did that mean to you to see how dedicated he was in trying to get you to become a Bronco?
Oh, it meant a lot because it really showed me that they were interested in me. You know, driving an hour and a half just to see recruit, not just one. I'm sure there was other ones as well, but you know, just taking the time out the day just to come in down there, just to visit them and chop it up with them for 30 minutes to an hour, and just letting us know like, hey, we're thinking about you, and just having us in their best interest. You know, that meant a lot, and it showed us, like, not only I, but my parents and my family as well, that you know, this is like they're really interested in me.
And so then when you got to UCO, you ended up redshirting. So now I had to ask, what was that experience like? Because obviously you went from here where you were starting on both sides of the ball, you're playing almost every snap, to now you're only practicing. So what was that experience like, and what was probably the biggest thing that you took away from that?
It was really hard. When I had the injury, I didn't know what was gonna go on. I didn't know if they were gonna pull my offer or if they were gonna honor it. And fortunately, I was blessed enough to where they kept me. It was really out of the ordinary because, like you said, I was used to playing and making sure, like, you know, just being out there and being in the action. But being out that freshman year, it was hard on me at first because going into it, I didn't know what I didn't know what I was getting into. I just know I was going in as a freshman, just being thrown in there. But fortunately, I was blessed enough with some teammates that could help me, guide me through, and the trainers as well. They took care of me. They took the best care of me as they can. And throughout that time that I was recovering, like I said, they took care of me, made sure I got right. And I was kind of like scared about coming back because I was just iffy about if I was gonna have an injury again on the same thing. But like the overall experience, it was kind of scary, but you know, it was a blessing in the disguise, as the coach told me. They told me because you know, throughout that freshman year, you know, not everybody's gonna come in and start. You know, there's very few people that can come in, and those are really good guys. But for me, I just took that freshman year to keep down my academics, make sure I was in the playbook, and just take that in as much as I can so I could be ready for the spring.
And you mentioned the injury now, so now it put a lot in the question for you. So like going through the injury, going through the rehab, and then coming back, what was that experience like? And did you learn anything, perhaps maybe about yourself or your love for the game that you didn't know before the injury?
Yeah, don't quit. It was one of the hardest things to do because when I had got injured, everything just felt like it just shattered and it just went downhill. But I think I had a great support group by my side that pushed me and guided me, like I said, and just allowed me to better myself. But like I said, just not quitting, going pushing through adversity and just striving for what I started. I look back to why I started, and just go through from that.
And so your first time back on the field after the injury, after you recovered. Now, what was that experience like? Because I imagine there was probably some kind of nerves there because the first time
Oh
you
yeah.
came
Yes. I was super nervous. Obviously, I've had practices in between that, going against people at collegiate level, my teammates, my former teammates as well. But just going against another team. Obviously, the nerves were up, butterflies would come in, and I feel like that's inevitable. Not just for me, but probably other folks. But yeah, my first time being back, my nerves was up. I was excited. It was fun. And I really enjoyed being back because it was so long since I've been on the football field.
And then you also mentioned that that it allowed you to dive into the playbook. Now I feel like not most, but some people might think, well, as an offensive lineman, it's simple. You just simply block. But there's obviously a lot more to it. So coming from high school, was the playbook was that a steep learning curve for you, or were you able to pick it up rather quickly?
It took me a minute. I'm gonna be honest with you. It took me a long minute to actually understand it. But honestly, once you finally get it down, it's not as bad. Once there's a lot to maintain or gain in like information, that's when it becomes a problem. But it wasn't that bad. Once you actually sit there and understand it and go through it and talk through it and actually comprehend what they are trying to show you, then it'll make it a lot more easier for yourself. But yeah, it was pretty tough at the start, but uh, after a while, you get used to it.
And so then 2019 happens, you register, you come off 2020 here, you're looking to carve out a role for yourself. And then the pandemic happens and the season is canceled. So at that point now, this is your second year of essentially no games, limited, you're just practicing. What, at that point, that had to kind of take somewhat of a toll on you, possibly, I don't know. Like, what was that experience like, those 2 years of basically your football was just practice?
Yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. You have so many emotions and thoughts going in because you haven't been playing for so long. You've been out for 2 years, almost 2 years in full, and you just want to go out there and just do what you love. But I know for a fact that I wasn't the only one in that same position. I know there are a lot of other folks, and there were some teammates on the team that haven't played for 2 years or even longer than 2 years, maybe because maybe they had a consistent injury or just something wrong with their eligibility. But I just know that deep down, I just had to find a way through and just continue what I started. I can't sit there and just dwell on it and like make myself feel bad because I haven't done anything for 2 years. Because the only thing you can do is just get up and go to work.
Now, looking back on it, because you essentially at that point you had two redshirt years. You had the actual redshirt year, and then the COVID year, was pretty much everybody got back. So having those two redshirt years, then how do you feel like that helped you from maybe a development standpoint, both physically and mentally?
Just taking the time out to lift and get in all like drills and basically just working on yourself like solo work. Um, but just throughout those 2 seasons, like those 2 seasons that were off, we weren't not doing anything. It was always consistent work. Even when we didn't have the season in 2020 COVID season, like that season, we were still practicing, making sure we got in our work and just continue to do what we need to do. Just because we weren't working for nothing at the end of the day, we were still working to like better ourselves and better our bond as teammates, and continue that. But there was no work that was left out.
And then you finally you got a chance to make your UCO debut in a Southern Nazarene scrimmage. Now, talk me through that because everybody I've talked to said that that was a very big game, even though it didn't count just because you were facing one somebody beside yourselves, and number
Mhm.
two, it was an in-state opponent. But for you, you're also adding like this is the first time people are seeing you in a college game, seeing what you can do. Just talk about what that moment was like for you and how you felt that you did in that scrimmage.
Oh, okay. Honestly, that was a big one for me. It was a big game for us because we didn't have that season. That season before that, and then we didn't have we haven't played a game in so long, almost 2 years, in almost 2 seasons. First, it was big because my mom, my family, they haven't seen me play and since my high school season. So that was big. Same thing for me. I haven't played since then, so that was big as well. And just being out there, like I said before, the nerves are high, the butterflies are in there, but I just went out there and had fun. I know there was a few times where I messed up and stuff like that, but that's gonna happen. But other than that, I think I did pretty good. I had a few pancakes and knockdowns, and there was a few moments where people got rowdy in the game with my teammates, and like we were watching film with it. And it is probably like some of the it was like some funny moments where this dude he pushed my teammate Jordan. Well, my boy Jordan pushed him down after the play, like when the play was ending, and then right after that, the other dude from the other team he came up and he boom knocked him over, and like we till this day we'll still watch it because someone recorded on the phone and we'll send it in, which is why I laugh at that. But other than that, overall for me, I think I did good during that game. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Like you said, even though it didn't count, it was still like a little rivalry. People had the tension was high, even like when people were talking about the game before it even happened. So it was most definitely a game enjoyed.
And given the circumstances, were you satisfied about how your first collegiate action went?
Hold on. It cut off real quick. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Mm-hmm. It said so. Given the circumstances, how do you feel like your do you feel like your first college action went as you thought it would?
Um, yeah, I think so. I knew. Oh, that's kind of a hard question. I think it did good, honestly. Wow, I didn't really think about that. Wow. I know I hold myself to a higher standard, but I knew there was a lot more to feel. I wasn't like content with that. I knew there was a lot more that I can do to better myself overall. But I just knew that coming in, it was going to be a high intense game, and it wasn't going to be like no high school.
And so we go from that. You obviously you worked hard during the off season during the fall camp because in the Missouri Western game you were starting. That's like when did you learn that you were going to start and what did it mean to you to know here you are as still technically a freshman starting your first legitimate college football game?
That meant a lot because I'm a humble person, and when it came to that, I just knew that like I was ready for it, and it meant a lot to me because they trusted me to be out there in the starting five and to actually get the job done to make sure that I can trust the dude to the right, to the left of me, and make sure that we get what we need to get done. Um, but like overall, like it was pretty exciting because I got to say, like I got to tell my parents, like, hey, I'm starting the first game, like season opener for college, like starting a college game. It was always something like I've dreamed about. No matter where I went, just playing in college, that was always a dream. And like actually having that happen, it was like a dream come true. But in the moment, it was fun. You know?
And you all obviously won that game. It was an exciting game. It was a thrilling game. What was that? What was that post game locker room? What was that like?
Oh, what? It was like turning up like 24/7. Like the whole locker room was getting at it, going crazy, having fun like we were supposed to. Like how you're supposed to celebrate after a win, and especially the season opener. Kudos to the Mo West. They were a good team, good tough team, but the strong team came out with the win, and we had to celebrate it for sure. Also, get food in too.
Now, at some point, during the season, I believe you got replaced in the starting lineup, but you were able to regain the job. I believe at some point. If I'm recalling this correctly. So, what was that kind of experience like? Going from like the highs of being a starter and then kind of being demoted and having to fight to get that job back.
Yeah, it was pretty tough, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. But I knew that the people that they put in, they trusted, and they got the job done for sure. At left tackle, after I had got injured, when I had got out, they had threw Noah Dobson in. I know you interviewed him as well, and he just went in and did the work against Mo West. But like for me, being out, it was tough because it was out on injury, so that's unfortunate. But I knew that the people ahead of me that I could sit back and not sit back, but get behind them, take mental reps, and learn from them, so I can better myself when it's my turn to come back up and come back in and do the job. Even though it took so long for me to come back in, it's okay because I knew that the person that in front of me and that myself, that we were getting better throughout practice and just watching film and just helping it out. Just like, hey, if I see him doing something wrong, or if he sees me doing something wrong, like with our like technique wise, then we can help each other out. Not just us, but our other teammates as well. But, for that to happen to me, that's always going to be tough. But it's not like I'm just going to sit back and just let it happen and not compete or work for that same position back or to get my same position back. You still got to continue to work for it. And, I didn't really get downsided on it because, I just know it's work. You got to work for it. It's not going to be given to you.
So how were you able to keep that positive mindset? Because now this is the second time that you had an injury kind of stifle some momentum for you. So like, how were you able to kind of avoid falling into that here we go again trap and kind of tackle it head on and get back on the field?
Just having everybody around me to like support me and just talk and just being strong mentally, because you can tell yourself, hey, don't do this, but you eventually find yourself doing it. So it's a lot of practice mentally. But it's just teammates and everybody around me that brings me uplifts me, and basically it just comes down to like, if you like, I go back to why you started. So for me, why I started is for my family, my nephews, and I don't want to let them down. Obviously, it comes down to me as well, but I just look back there and I just be like, I don't want to get down in that position and be like to a point where I'll quit or something. Never that, but I just look back to where I start and keep going from there.
And I asked both Lane and Noah this question, but just looking back overall at the season, that Fort Hays game to me, I keep circling back to, as far as probably the best performance from the offensive line for 4 full quarters. What was working for you all in that Fort Hays game? Because that's a very big physical front, and you were playing them at home. So how were you all able to have that degree of success against them?
Communication and just trusting one another to get the job done and just fighting through. That's really what it all comes down to, and just having the blood, sweat, and tears for it and how bad you want it. That's really what it was.
Okay. And now what now because there was the line it was baffling at times to me because you look at the Fort Hays game, I look at some of the other games, I look at Missouri Western, I look at Lincoln, I look at Northeastern State, I look at parts of the Pitt State, this is a Missouri game, and you all were a very cohesive, good unit, able to run the ball, able to give Keats and Steph time back there, and then there were other times where that wasn't the case. So, looking back on it, what kind of do you think was the kind of the problem from a consistency standpoint?
I feel like potentially probably just getting in our head a lot. When you make a mistake, sometimes it seems to like snowball, and you'll let that take over. And I feel sometimes that like overruled us when we came down to compete. And when it continues like that, then like I said, it snowballs. And I feel like that's what got a hold of us and just prevented us from doing what we needed to do and be productive.
Okay, so the season ends. Coach Bobek steps down. Coach Doral comes in. When he first talked to you all, what was your first impressions of him?
Um, I liked it. I liked it from the start. I mean, well, I kind of had questions about it. Everybody questioned about it. We had Reggie that was here with us. He mentioned it all and how they were going to have candidates come in, and we were going to get to be able to meet with them and see how they were going to do. I apologize. But when he first came in and talked to us, he basically just threw down on the table what he was going to do for us, why he wanted to do for why he came here, what he wanted to do for us, what his main job was, and how he wanted to change the culture for us to make it better, and just basically put us in a position where we could be successful for the upcoming season and just throughout the time prior to that. And everything that he said from the first time we met him, and him introducing himself to us, it's been that.
And he's also your position coach. So what has it been like to learn from him in that regard?
Oh, it's an honor to do that. And having him as a head coach and him as an O-line coach, everybody respects him regardless. He knows what he's talking about, everything that he does teach, and every time he does speak, everybody's always eyes and ears listening to him, making sure they take in the information from him because he has everything in the past and he has proof from everything in the past that he's accomplished, that he's capable and he's knowledgeable to coach what he coaches. And we as an offensive line group, we enjoy that and we love that for sure.
And spring, how do you feel like the spring went for you?
I think spring went pretty good for me. I've had my ups and downs. There was my biggest thing for me was my mental part. Being in the playbook a little bit, I couldn't get some of the plays down. But other than that, my physicalness, and I think that was the best part about it. But the down part about mine was just my mental and my technique a little bit. But I've been working on that this summer and with our guys as well to make sure that we can get everything right. But spring for me, I think that was pretty decent.
And then before it came out, you touched on that you also been playing some guard as well. So how has that gone? And for those who might not know, like what are some of the key differences uh, between a blocking as a tackle and blocking as a guard?
Um, it's regardless, you always gotta be physical. You always gotta keep your head on the swivel. You gotta make sure you're doing the correct thing. Uh, Always help your lineman too. Um, what else? You just gotta stay technical as well. But for me personally, I have yet to play guard in the game. I was more of a tackle last season, so this I've been working guard in the spring, like this past spring, and then I played a little bit in the SNU game, SNU game, but I only played tackle. But as a guard, you just gotta be physical. You gotta be physical and big. Just have fun with it, really. But you make sure you get your assignment. You know your assignment and everything else, because everything else will fall in place.
Now, I gotta ask for someone that as a senior in high school has 34 knockdowns, 35 pancakes. I imagine if you do end up a guard that you cannot wait to be called upon to pull and lay somebody out. Now,
Hey, you already know. You already know. That's probably like the best thing that a guard or any lineman can hear when they hear that play getting called. Because I mean, there's a lot of DNs that know when it's coming, they're trying to do that, but with the ones that are not, and you catch them off guard, boy, oh my goodness! And when you come in right out that pool and you swing around and you hit them, man, hey, it's the best feeling ever. It is. It gets you excited.
See now, because Noah said the same thing. Like when you pancake somebody, it's like he said it's a different feeling. So like
Yeah,
when you get a pancake, like what are you feeling after that?
like a grown man, just knocking out another grown man. Like you feel, how would I say, like a Hokage. You feel like the Hokage. You feel like the top dog. Like Noah said before, you gotta act like you've been there before. That's what he said, quote unquote. You gotta act like you've run that.
Okay.
But most definitely, it's a good feeling for sure.
That now among the linemen, is there like a pride thing? Maybe about who ends up with the most pancakes. Like, is that something that's like discussed in the offensive line group, or is it
Uh,
just
Honestly, we haven't talked about that really, but we do obviously congratulate or freaking give ups props to the ones that do get pancakes and stuff like that. Like we'll rewatch it on film, but we ain't never had no competition on who had the most pancakes or who gets the most pancakes for sure. We just know when you get them, we're gonna celebrate with you for sure.
Okay.
But that is something that could be brought up in the conversation for sure. You gave us something to talk about now.
Okay. I'm glad we would do that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
now, in eventually, when you pancake somebody, you're supposed to act like you've been there before. Obviously, though, you couldn't say that in your first college pancake. So now I have to ask. Now, knowing this, your first college pancake. Now, I mean, how were you? Were you able to play it cool afterwards, or
Uh,
did you just let the excitement go?
I think it was kind of both. Like after I had pancaked him, I looked down at him and I was like, I didn't say nothing to him, but I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, you really are that guy. And then afterwards, I just went to celebrate. Real.
Oh, that's good.
You just feel good afterwards. Oh my goodness, I don't know how to explain it.
now, now you all are you're switching from a spread now to more pro style. And what I was told by both Lane and Noah, that the new blocking scheme fits you all better. Now, would you agree with that statement? And in what regard do you feel like the scheme is better suited to you all as a unit?
I like the scheme better because it fits us. Because out of all the linemen that we do have here, we're all athletic and we're able to move the ball and run. We can run the ball from left to right, down the middle, and I feel like that fits us perfectly because we're all, like I said, athletic and we can move.
Yeah, yeah. And heading into fall camp, what do you feel like you need to improve on the most?
Oh, for me, there's quite a few things. Like number one, I believe is mentally. When I do mess up, I do tend to get down on myself and pressure myself on that. So that's one thing that I've been working on and overcoming. Another thing is my technique as well, and my stance. They go hand in hand. Obviously, I do lack one. I can be good at one thing, and then I'll lack on another. And then when I pick up on that lacking part, I'll lack on another thing. So I gotta get all the pieces and combine and make sure that they're functioning at the right rate and going together. Um, but yeah, I feel like those are two of the things that I need to work on is my technique and my mental part of the game.
Yeah. And do you have any goals for the upcoming season?
Yes. I mean, honestly, at least average 200 yards a game. Make sure we come out with a dub. Uh, Overall, make playoffs. I mean, obviously, the main goal is to win the Natty. One thing I do want to have is obviously continue to get closer with the team. You know, that's one thing that's like overall is that making sure that the brotherhood and the bond that we have as a team is up there, because without that, then what are you really playing for? I know there's a lot more, but I had to think about that.
Now, when you look back, because you got there in 2019, it's 2022, and you completed one season. I like this. Now, like when you kind of like look back on that fact, that you be like, dang, I've been here for this long, and I've literally, through no fault of my own, have only been able to get one season.
Yeah, it makes me feel old, sort of. I mean, yeah, it does. Yeah, I do question, like, it comes to mind a little bit. I'm like, dang, I've been here, like you said, 3 years, and I've only got one season in. But I got to look at it as, man, stuff happens. Stuff happens for a reason, and I can't really get down about that. So I just go in and do work whenever my name was called up, and whenever, it's just like that. But yeah, being out for 2 seasons and being here for 3, it's kind of gets tiring. But I enjoy every moment of it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, before I get you out of here, because obviously now you watch episodes, you kind of know what's coming next. We do the get to know you type
Hold on,
questions.
cut off real quick.
Okay. Before I let you go, we always do the get to know you questions for the first time guest. So, your favorite sports team?
My favorite sports team? Doesn't matter what sport.
It does not.
All right, I'm just gonna stick with football. I know I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this, but I don't care. The Dallas Cowboys. But look, I'm gonna be honest. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was a kid, I was always a bandwagon. But it's okay though, because I really like the teams because of their players. Like before, I used to be Philadelphia Eagles, and then I used to be Seattle, and then I switched over to Cowboys.
Wait, like how are you jumping ship from Philly to Dallas? That's like going from OU to Texas, man. You can't do that.
Hey, never. I would never switch from OU to Texas. But listen, this is my reason. I liked them because of the players. It was because the duo Mike Vick, Deshaun Jackson. That's when they was at Philly. That's when I really liked them. And then when at Seattle, they had Legions of Boom. They had Marshawn Lynch. They had Russell Wilson, bro. I just could not. How could you not like them?
I'm not disputing that fact, but like, I mean, you're jumping from like Cowboys, Eagles. I mean that's like I mean, you're jumping. I mean, that's a.
Let me
I mean, I'm just saying. Like you see the.
Okay, I didn't like the team. I just like their players.
Okay. Now. Is this the year? Okay, well, I'll leave this. First of all, does Dallas win the division again? And if they do, is this the year they actually win a playoff game?
Yes, sir. I know that question come up every year. Every year. But this year they're gonna get their dub. And I'm gonna stand behind that for sure.
Okay. Well, you and Kellen are extremely confident because
Oh, for sure. I know Kellen straight from Dallas, this Dallas area. You should know. We talked about this before.
Let's see. Okay, your favorite hobby outside of football?
I like to play video games sometimes, but also like to go work out. I think working out is probably like before my video games.
Okay. Now, are we an Xbox guy or a PlayStation guy?
PlayStation. Hey, but before, when I was younger, I used to have an Xbox 360. And then after that, I switched over to PS4. So, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I was kind of both sides. But I didn't really like the Xbox One. But the PS4 was more in my favor.
Okay. Now, so that brings the only Xbox guys that at least have admitted to me or that I'm aware of is Coach Doral, Coach Curley, and your punter, Bo Phelps. Now, now, do you have a game of choice whenever you game?
I like to play a lot of I play Mortal Kombat. I play UFC. I play some Call of Duty. I'll switch back from Cold War or Warzone. And then when I'll play like some Madden or 2K when the guys are around as well. But I usually stick with I forgot to mention Fortnite. I'll play Fortnite too. But I like to play Fortnite, UFC, Mortal Kombat, all them games.
Okay. Now,
hey, why you give me that look?
No.
Yeah, you had that weird look like, what? What did you just say?
No. It's not the weird look. It's because I was thinking that because I was waiting for you to say Madden so I could ask this question. Now, when Jonathan Mosley came on, okay, he said he is one of the top Madden players on the team. Now, no adoption informed me that's a lie. So now, is Mosley one of the better Madden players on the team?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have never seen Mosley play Madden at all, so I do not believe him.
What?
Hey, I know that's an odd assumption, but there's some other folks that play the Madden that are really good. I know one person right now, who you could look into is Mason Gibbons. He's good at Madden.
Okay. Now, why are we just writing off though Mosley here? You hadn't even seen him play.
Because I ain't never seen bro play Madden before.
I'm not going to sit
here and vouch for him and be like, yeah, he the best player, and I ain't never seen him play.
No, I mean, you got to do. I'm not saying that, but you're assuming the man is bad at the game, though. Now, I mean, you're just assuming.
I'm just messing.
Oh, okay.
I realized I was just all up in the camera.
Okay, your favorite musical artist.
My favorite musical artist. I mean, there's a lot of good artists out there. That's kind of hard. I was gonna throw one out there. I like Gunna. I've been listening to Gunna a lot. Who else? Dang, there ain't no favorite one. I just like a lot of folks.
Yeah, and do you?
I'll say that there's one artist that I'll listen to before a game, and that'll be Lil Uzi. I listen to Uzi before the game.
Okay. Now, what is your go-to Lil Uzi song?
Do What I Want.
Okay, that's classic. That's classic. Now I have been told that the aux cord in the locker room is a very brutal place to be at. That if the vibe is not felt, the cord will be yanked out of your phone. Now
you're gonna be told to get off.
Now, I have to ask. Now, have you ever been in that position where you may have been on the aux cord and
no? Hey, I'm not gonna put myself in that position because I know sometimes when I listen to some folks don't be listening to either. But everything that they do be playing though, it's a vibe though for sure. It's always a vibe in the locker room.
Okay. Now what I've been told is that Steph and I think Robert Fuentes are among the better ones on the aux cord.
Hey, that's the locker room DJs right there. They're certified.
Okay. Now I've also been told that Jace Gardner is the worst. Would that be
Hey, I can't do my boy Jace like that. Y'all can't do me like that.
I'm saying, according to Noah Bow, and when I talked to Peyton Lusk, they informed me that Jace is the worst. So now, is that an accurate statement, though?
I'm gonna say that some of the songs that he do choose is not the one that we be liking sometimes. But it's okay though. It's okay. I'm not gonna judge you for what you like. We're not gonna judge you. Just don't play it in the locker room when everybody's trying to vibe.
Now, I was also told that I don't know if you were at this particular workout, but he was on the aux. I think it was the Baby song came on. He went over and changed the song to Drake. That I mean, like who? Now I'm not privy on the locker room music, but I would assume you're not going to put Drake on when you're trying to work out early in the morning now.
I mean, depends on what you're feeling, but yeah, you is right. I wouldn't want to switch that over either. That's a tough choice to make right there. I don't know what he was thinking when he did that.
Okay, now, are we old Lil Wayne or new Lil Wayne?
I feel like both, but more old Lil Wayne.
Okay. I think you, outside of Jace, are the first person to say both. Most just immediately default to old Lil Wayne, and then kind of like disregard the new Lil Wayne. So this is okay.
There's only like one song that I like from him, from his newer version. It's probably like the only one that I've listened to, just Mona Lisa off his recent album. That was one of the songs that I like from his newer ones.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Your favorite food?
My favorite food? Boy, you know dang well that's one of the hardest questions we're going to get. All right, here's a list. I love, my hands down is going to be tacos. Right after that, it's going to be Chinese food. I love my Chinese food. But it's also going to be Mexican food, hands down, going to be my first.
Okay. Now, are we a soft shell guy or a hard shell?
Whoa, this is straight, authentic street tacos, soft corn tortilla tacos. Yes.
Okay. I think that was it. It might have been Noah. I think it was Noah that said street tacos. What was it, Noah? It was either Noah or Kellen that I know said that street tacos was their preferred food. So okay.
Oh, most definitely, and I don't blame him. For sure.
Now, okay, now, in your opinion, what makes a good street taco?
A good street taco. All right, you gotta make sure your tortilla is crispy. Not crispy all the way, but you got to make sure it's cooked all the way. You got to get your good amount of meat on there. Whatever meat you got, chicken, you got your asada, you got your pork or whatever one you want. Make sure you got a good amount on there. Make sure it's juicy. You got your cilantro, you got your onion, and you also got to have your lime as well to sprinkle it up there. And then you cannot leave out the hot sauce. You got to make sure the sauce is on there too. And then that's what you have. You got your little street taco on it. Make sure you got them ingredients on it. And you good. Now
Well,
you put like 10 of them on a plate and you set.
Well, okay. Is there a certain amount of hot sauce? Because I feel like if you overdo that, wouldn't that be overpowering almost though?
No, it just makes you. I don't know. I just know it tastes good. Hey, as long as you give me flavor and a kick, boy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, let's see. Now, in terms of gear, are you more of just give me the helmet, the shoulder pads, the gloves, the knee braces? Let me go to work. Or are you like some of your defensive backs in Traylon Craig and Jonathan Mosley that have to wear bands galore?
No, I'm not like that. But I also like to look good when I'm out there too. But I'm not gonna sit here and put on everything and make sure I look flashy. As long as I feel comfortable, I'm straight. Like I don't need all the other stuff. As long as I got my gloves, I got my knee brace. I make sure my socks look good. Make sure I look good. I'm straight. You feel good, play good, look good, feel good, play good. But I'm not gonna make myself look good for the sidelines, you know.
Let's see. Now, do you now are you hoping? Because since you were there in 2019, and Peyton Scott pointed this out to me, that was the last time the yellow pants were seen. Now, are you hoping for a return of the yellow pants and the blue helmet?
Oh yeah, for sure, most definitely. I feel like that colorway will. I feel like that will make us not make us do good, but I feel like it was something that like because it's more of like what the players want, you know, how like I just hope that we can bring that back into our unis, have them bring them back in our combinations. I would for sure love to see that.
Sure. And do you have any pregame routines that you normally do?
Pregame routine, no. I mean, make sure I get my food in, get me a drink in as well. Listen to my music. Make sure I get my mind right. Other than that, I don't really have no pregame routines. Oh, I wear my same socks, like over like my game socks. It's the same socks for every game. They're washed though. Obviously, I know there's folks that don't be washing their stuff.
Wait a minute. Wait. Now you're saying now that there are guys that are wearing clothing items that are not washed every year. I mean,
let me rephrase that. I'm not saying nobody on the team does. I'm saying there's people like in the past talk saying like they've worn socks, like game socks, and they don't wash them.
Okay,
I've heard people see that before.
Okay,
but I'm saying I wear the same game socks over and over, the same ones, but I do wash. I'm not nasty, okay? That's just gross. I had to rephrase that real quick. I didn't want you to think something different.
Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute, I got like this avenue now. Let's see, okay. Well, I guess my final question for you would be to those who might be on the fence about coming to give you all a chance this season. What would you tell them that they can expect to see if they come see you all play?
A show, a good show, really. Because for everything that we are working for right now, that's not being shown in the light. It's just straight hard work, and when that time comes, you know, we're just ready for that opportunity to take, and it's going to be different from last season for sure.
Well, Hector, I appreciate you taking time this evening to come on and talk to me. I had a fantastic time. I'm wishing you the best rest of the summer workouts in the fall camp. And anytime you want to come back on, you're more than welcome to.
All right. Hey, I really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate the opportunity you're giving me. It's a really good experience. And I had a great time being on here talking to you too.
I'm glad. Well, again, thank you, Hector.
All right. Yes, sir. You have a blessed night.
You too.